Good morning and welcome everyone to the Money Control live stream. You're watching the opening bell and I'm your host Nickey Mirchandani. Well, Indian equities set for a listless start amidst mixed global cues. Q1 GDP data, however, gives some a ray of hope. Growth rises to one-year high of 7.8%. GIFT Nifty, however, signals a negative start coming in for Indian equities. Talk about Wall Street loses momentum on the last trading day of August. All three indices posted losses for the month, and S&P 500 for the month suffered its biggest drop since Feb. Stocks in Asia rose as China rolls out more stimulus to aid ailing economy. China's central bank cut reserve requirements to boost the economy. FIIs, they've been selling shares to an extent of 2,973 crore, and DIIs have purchased shares to a maximum amount of 4,382 crore. It's a big one that we're talking about. Let's talk about the FNOQs. FIIs have only, been net buyers in index options. They've been selling index futures along with stock futures, bank nifty futures and bank nifty options. In terms of what remains in FNO ban, no new entries there, but what is out of the ban is BHEL and Indiabull Housing Finance. Also, let's look at the August series performance. Nifty saw 406-point declines, perhaps the first negative series in almost 5 months. September series or the month is known for big moves on either sides, and Nifty mid-cap index overall for the series rose 5%, and Bank Nifty slipped 4% for the series. What we had in terms of top gainers for Nifty in terms of August series, Tech Mahindra, NTPC and M&M, along with Cipla and Infosys too. What was the top losers? BPCL, SBI, Britannia are some of the top losers that we had overall on the list. But let's get going and address the the technical story. And to join us to talk about the trades and strategies, we've been joined by the technical analyst. Morning out there. I'm going to start off by asking you your assessment on the trade setup. What do you make out of Brijesh?
Yeah, morning, madam.
All right, what do you make out of the trade setup in terms of the Nifty levels that we're looking at? Bank Nifty, how is the September series shaping up for you?
So the way the expiry was seen, and if you look at the monthly charts, yesterday was even at the monthly close. So some of the structure is not that very great. So I believe there would be some more sell-off in the system. So if I'm talking specifically for the Bank Nifty, I think Bank Nifty, there is a probability we might come close to 43,000 during this current month, the current series. So biases, so whatever the damage has to be done, the more or less damage is already done. So, but slightly continuation of this negative bias will be there.
All right, Brijesh, hold on to that thought. We're going to get back to you and address the markets open. 19,263 mark. It's a flat start with positive bias for Nifty 50. Bank Nifty, let's look at that. How is that stacking up? We are looking at a flat start coming in even for Bank Nifty in terms of small cap and the mid cap losers and the gainers. In terms of sectoral indices, mid cap index is seeing a flat start with negative bias. Small cap index also seems to be at a bit of outperformance coming in for small cap. And in terms of other sectoral indices that we have on the charts right now, IT is it's a flat start coming in for IT. And if you talk about the other sectoral indices that we have, pharma along with the other baskets holding up perhaps in flat. Let's look at the top gainers and the top losers that we have overall on the list just to see how the trend has been stacking up. It is a flat start coming in for the markets, mixed global cues there. Hindalco, Tata Steel and ONGC, some of the top gainers that we have on the list. Along with Bajaj Auto, Power Grid and Eicher Motors. Essentially, auto companies are going to be reporting in their monthly sales number, and these stocks are expected to be in focus ahead of those numbers. Coal India, Apollo Hospital and Ultratech Cement. These are some of the other top gainers that we have on the list. Advances 35, declines 15, market breadth clearly in the favor of advances. Let's also look at the top losers that we have on the chart. NTPC, Adani Ports and Adani Enterprises. These are some of the top losers that we have on the list right now. Let's also get back to addressing the fundamental side, technical side, and Brijesh Ail, head technical derivative retail research at IDBI Capital Markets, joins us. Brijesh, you were talking about, perhaps much of the damage has been done past in the August series. How are you looking at September series and the trade setup for the day?
Yeah, so basically for the day specific, I believe this 19,200 level will be held for the Nifty, and even it looks more or less like Bank Nifty might hold 44,000 level for the day, but maybe this level may be only held for the day. I have a view for the September series. There is a probability Nifty may come close to 19,000 level. We are talking of, in a worst case scenario, we are talking of 18,800 being tested during the September series. And the same level for the Bank Nifty will be somewhere close to 42,500 level. So that would be the maximum correction in case of further fall in the market. But for the day or two, I think 19,200 levels will be held, and 44,000 is likely to act as a base for the Bank Nifty. Some bounce is expected from the intraday point of view. So somebody is looking to go long from the intraday structure, or maybe from 1 or 2 day point of view, can take the in the money call option and can go long in the market, is what I believe.
All right, stay on with us, Brijesh. Let's address stocks and news in terms of auto sales expectation. Ashok Leyland is expected to report in sales, which is expected to be 8% higher year-on-year. Bajaj Auto too, 18% uptick perhaps seen in the monthly sales number. Hero MotoCorp at 2%. That's a minuscule amount as compared to the other peers. Along with that, also let's look at TVS Motor, where the sales are expected to be flat. Maruti Suzuki, however, is expected to post in sales growth, which is higher by 12% year-on-year. And for M&M, it's a double-digit growth too, coming in at 10%. These are the estimates that we're talking in terms of Nomura. In terms of Jio Financial Services, that's the one that we'll perhaps discuss a little more in details on the technical side. Jio Financial Services is expected to be removed from BSE indices from September 1. It doesn't need to be at the moment. It's not going to be removed from the Nifty indices until the newly formed entity avoids price limits on either side, the upside or the lower side. Initial removal essentially was scheduled on August 30. There's a bit of deferral which has come through on account of the stock hitting the lower circuit limit. Past few sessions, the stock has stabilized, and you can see the stock finally moving out of BSE Sensex. Implication for this one? Well, Jio Financial Services forms over 1% Sensex weight, 1.1 to be precise, and this implies that the passive funds will be selling off roughly 60 million shares, which will approximate to the worth of $180 million based on the calculation. Let's also look at the two other counters, Torrent Pharma and Cipla. These were the two ones that essentially need to be highlighted. Torrent Pharma, of course, has been the top mid-cap loser on Thursday. The development, which is a source-based development to CNBC, suggested that Torrent has submitted a non-binding bid for Cipla acquisition. Financials due diligence has been initiated by Torrent for Cipla. The decision on binding bid is expected in the upcoming weeks, and Torrent is exploring fundraising options from PE funds. It's already in talks with 3 to 4 PE funds, and that's the one that we're looking at for Torrent and Cipla. What Torrent essentially gains from this is Cipla's reach in India and the US markets essentially. So that's the one. Torrent Pharma now down and out again. A bit of with a negative bias was the top loser on the mid-cap index overall, but we also saw Cipla being one of the top gainers overall for the August month series. 5-star finance, block deal perhaps, PE investor selling out 8.8% equity. Floor price is to an extent of 724 per share, which is a discount of 6% as compared to the previous close. The stock has already lost more than 5% there, and in terms of the total size, it's up to an extent of 1,860 odd crore. Gujarat Gas, another one that you need to take a note of. The company has undertaken second price hike in the fortnight. The company has raised in price for Morbi customers by 2.5 SCM to rupees 43.3 effective September 1st. Earlier price hike is of 2 rupees per SCM on August 21st. So essentially, these are some of the counters that we're looking at. But Brijesh, in terms of auto sales number and Jio Financial Services, weigh in on that one?
So basically, the auto was one of the outperformers in the last couple of months. So basically, Tata Motors is one stock which has again come back to the support level. So I believe close to 600 level, Tata Motors is a very good bet. it's always a trading bounce close to 600. We can always talk a 30-40 points from those levels. So Tata Motors is one which is looking very promising at current level. It's coming, it's trading close to supports now. As you spoke, TVS Motor is something which is again giving some technical breakouts on the higher degree chart. So I believe 1500 plus can be the short-term target for the TVS Motor. So I do like Tata Motors at the supports and TVS Motor at the current level. And as you spoke of the Jio thing, I think it's a very limited chart, but I do believe any time correction close to 185, 190 level can be viewed as a buying opportunity. Maybe I won't be able to comment on a long-term perspective, but then from the very small chart, I can see that coming close to 185, 190 levels can be viewed as a buying opportunity in the Jio Finance as of now.
Sure. In terms of auto, apart from the one that you have mentioned, anything else looks exciting? Because the growth figures clearly double-digit growth coming in, at least for the month for most of them, barring a few. Anything else that excites you within the auto
For
space?
me, for me, the M&M is something which is very strong positive on charts. So close to 1600 level, it is already trading. So I think the continuation of momentum in M&M will be there. So in the long, maybe from the weekly time frame, I do look at, I think another 10-15% kind of gain during the current month can be seen in M&M also. So I think M&M should also be kept on a watch list.
All right, that's the word coming in from Brijesh. Thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us this morning. All right, let's actually bring in our other guest for the show, Deepak Jasani, Head of Retail Research, HDFC Securities. Morning there. Deepak, let's start off with your assessment of what do you make out of the slew of measures that are coming from China day after day. Do you see an impact of those on FII trend? And if yes, do you think that would lead to a near-term correction for Indian equity markets?
Yeah, so China has seen the economy struggling to revive momentum. So the authorities have been hesitant to go for big bang announcements or big bang giveaways. We have seen over the last few days a series of announcements from the Chinese government or the regulators. Now, by themselves, the announcements may not be very significant to turn around the economy. Together, whether they will be able to revive the momentum, I have my own doubts so far. We need something more in terms of spurring the consumption, retail spending. On the investment side, I think China has realized that growth based on pure investment across infrastructure and manufacturing is something that is not going to give them any momentum in the near term, apart from taking the debt to abnormally high levels. So I think the key thing is reviving consumption at the retail level and tackling the property issue. So till we see some signs on those fronts, I don't think there's going to be a major revival in China. And so concurrently, we don't see a lot of funds moving out to China at this point of time.
All right. In terms of themes, how are you looking? Which themes look to be a little more attractive? Sure, mid-cap stocks seem to be on the go right now. They've been rallying. Every day we're seeing the entire index scaling new high, be it the small cap or the mid cap. The question first is, do you see more steam to the broader index? And if yes, which are your top picks within that space?
So we think currently the index is a bit top heavy. It has started to correct, and it may correct a little more. We have seen a series of not so positive news, whether it is monsoon, whether it is fiscal deficit, whether it is export data, manufacturing data, etc., etc. And we have a lot of political slugfest ahead of us. So in that sense, there are reasons for market to correct, where people have been waiting for the markets to correct. They have not corrected so far based on the robust and continuous inflows from foreign and domestic sources. Having said that, there are no big triggers to take the market up at the moment. Markets may try and take support around 19,200 and then probably 18,800. So we are sort of betting more on the downside in the near term rather than the upside. And as far as themes are concerned, I think PSU as a theme stands out. Although there is uncertainty in terms of who would come in the general elections, but I think having tested the market cap unlocking theme across PSUs, I think whichever government comes, privatization of the PSU or giving them more freedom, more funds, etc. No government can afford to ignore that. So that I think is given the valuations of PSU, which are almost 1/3 on a total basis compared to the Nifty or Sensex, there could be more upside left there.
All right. Also, in terms of the auto stocks, most of them will be reporting in their numbers perhaps in double-digit growth for the month on year-on-year basis compared to year-on-year basis. What excites you within this space?
Auto mein, we are currently comfortable with the passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles more rather than the two-wheelers and the tractors. So because the later two categories are more dependent on rural prosperity, which at this point seems a little uncertain given the fact that the rains have not been so good in August. So the first two categories we are more comfortable.
And within that, what's the name that you suggested?
We would prefer not to talk about individual stocks.
All right. Okay, so let's actually get more specific with the conversation. Cipla and Torrent Pharma, these are two of them which perhaps are the biggest buzzing stocks of the day because of the potential deal that could take place. Torrent Pharma has been one of the top loser on the mid-cap index on Thursday. And if you talk about Cipla's performance thus far, it's been one of the top gainers for August series. With the two potential being the candidates in terms of the merger, with Torrent Pharma essentially acquiring in the promoter entity stake within Cipla. How are you looking at the deal? What does that mean for the pharma space? Which are the names within the basket that you like?
Again, pharma as a space has seen a series of deals happening over the last couple of years, starting from JB Chemical, and I think the near term Unichem Lab is one where we had seen a deal. Here, I think PE funds are highly interested in the Indian pharma space, so they will find willing buyers at a particular valuation, and it all depends on the promoter's view or attitude about how long he wants to continue in the business, or whether he feels because of lack of successors or because of the high valuations, there may not be much upside from these levels. So the promoters may take a call as to whether they want to continue or they want to exit. And if they want to exit, there will be a lot of willing buyers. The key thing would be the valuation. One more thing which we have seen is that post the change of ownership, the stock prices of these companies have done well because the new owners bring in a new perspective, a new pricing scenario or pricing policies for their drugs. And this leads to value unlocking even for the shareholders who continue to hold. So broadly, this is what the pharma scenario looks like, and this could continue going forward.
All right. Also, your word coming in on Gujarat Gas and the likes, because the company has undertaken the second hike perhaps in a fortnight. This is perhaps less than a month that we've seen the price hike coming in. The stock hasn't done much in terms of the first price hike, as the street feels that the bigger customers may switch to propane to protect their profit margins. How are you looking at the space put together?
the uh, the business customers or the commercial or industrial customers of gas are very sensitive to prices, and they have options to switch to either LPG or propane as compared to natural gas. So in that sense, the companies who cater more to the business side, the commercial side, will be dependent more on the balance between the various fuels, whether pricing and efficiency balances. Plus the demand scenario, for example, how the Morbi cluster is faring in terms of export and local demand. So in case the demand scenario is very good, then the customers may not worry too much about small differences in prices of the gas. But if the demand scenario is sluggish, then there would be reason for cost cutting or cost effective measures. So a lot will depend on that. But the CGD companies who are dependent more on non-industrial customers are more affected by the prices of local gas, APM gas, and international LNG prices.
All right, Deepak. The last question that I have for you is in terms of real estate market. How bullish are you on the sector right now? Because the residential property in this quarter has seen a surge coming in demand in terms of double-digit volume growth, in terms of the price hikes. In fact, Mumbai property market too has probably registered the bumper August sales number, which is the best in a decade. Do you like this space?
Yeah, we have been liking the space for some time now, but I think valuations for the time being have run up ahead of time. From a term perspective, we still feel there is a lot of upside left in these stocks. Near term, probably they will sort of remain a little sluggish because of a few reasons. One is that the general economic growth momentum may slow down in the coming quarters. Number two, interest rates continue to be high, and the property prices, after remaining stable, are on the up. So affordability may become an issue going forward. So there may be a minor slowdown for a few quarters, but over medium term, I think we are quite bullish on this space.
All right, Deepak, we're just going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking to us.
Happy.
Right, with this, it's a wrap, and goodbye from the entire team who puts this piece together. Thank you so much for watching. Do post your feedback for us in the comment section below and follow us on the link at the bottom of your screen. Rest of the updates, stay tuned into moneycontrol.com and Money Control app.
How do world leaders view India?
I've long believed that the relationship between the United States and India is will be one of the defining relationships of the 21st century.
The bright spot of the global economy.
The growth rate for India, which is 6.8 in 2022. Let's not forget, this is one of the bright spots in the global economy right now, such a high growth rate.
The potential of India is enormous, and you have now a reformer, a radical reformer, who has the ability to transform it.
On the verge of a big transformation.
इस अमृत काल में हमारे संकल्पों की सिद्धि हमें आजादी के 100 वर्ष तक ले जाएगी.
A magnet for investment.
I'm actually incredibly excited about the future of India. I think India has more promise than any large country in the world.
The world is bullish on India. Money Control is bullish on India. Join the campaign. Tweet to us with #MC Bullish on India.